Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the second episode of The Bright Young Thing. So we started to indicate that maybe we're more than just someone who goes to parties and auction houses. We took a trip to Moorlands, and for our curiosity, we were rewarded with ghastly news that our father has died and that our allowance is tied up in probate. So, with that in mind, we don't really have that much we can do with the work slot. We can't even explore. I will maybe console myself with the purchase of a new book, but we will have to see what happens within the next minute. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I will find something interesting. Tristan interludes. If I have a particular friend, now is the time to renew our connection. I found something noteworthy. Alright, Kerner and Goethe. Kerner and Goethe Ausführlich Grammatik der Griechischen Sprache, a Greek grammar, an essential weapon for a ferocious struggle with a challenging language. So I would definitely be inclined to read this, but notice we don't actually have the study verb. So, I'm going to head back. Actually, maybe we don't head back to Moorlands. Maybe we search the city. Crowded thoroughfares by day, a frog-wrapped labyrinth by night. I'll walk the streets seeking secrets until I can walk no more. And nothing coming up, Season of Silence. So, some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. I may have found somewhere unusual. Right, we've got streets strange by moonlight, so let's see what we can find here. Streets are strange in the hour called Menestate. Puzzling papers. I am to receive papers found among Papa's belongings, which might perhaps shed some sort of light on where exactly the hell all the money has gone. The business of the will has been settled, but Papa's business affairs have been eaten up with debts like woodworm. No one seems to know exactly where he spent the money on, but the solicitor is sending me some papers, apparently. I read that in the wrong order, but it is kind of interesting. So, again, we've got the Bright Young Thing. What's neat here is that we have quite a bit of money to get us started, but we don't necessarily have a source of getting more of it. And so this is the big challenge of the Bright Young Thing. In fact, I would argue that the Bright Young Thing most commonly dies to Poppy, which I find is really interesting, which is now that you are sort of faced with the real world, and now that you are faced with you don't necessarily have the protections of your family, you are given just enough of a glimpse into the secret world, and where in the case of Cultist Simulator, it may be that the mundane world is potentially the source of your demise, and it's your failure to sort of balance those ambitions with the reality. In the case of the Bright Young Thing, it can actually be quite hostile. And what you wind up running into is you run into something that maybe you don't understand very well, and it carries with it a very large price. Particularly in the case of Poppy, one of the problems the Bright Young Thing faces is that you don't necessarily have a reliable source of income. Obviously, again, I can work physically, but I don't feel that is appropriate to this character. And so, in the case of Poppy, what you have is an opportunity to get some more funds, but if you don't have a way of sort of resolving the other half of the deal, that winds up being a problem for you. Visions pass me with purveying grace, a window over a wood, a garden of ice, a shivering sun, a woman of glass. I will return home with reluctance. So the question, oh neat, oh no, hang on, there it is. I was wondering, it seemed like Strange by Moonlight might have might have gone away. We'll see whether or not I want to follow up on that. I do have health to explore with if I was so inclined, but I can wind up buying more stuff from Orland, so let's add to the library. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. We'll have the ability to study in a moment, so I want to try and take advantage of that. Season of Despair coming up soon as well. I have received the papers. Poor Papa. Page after page of desperate scrawl on an invisible house and the colors of sleep and the invisible gods behind the world. But do you know, the more I read, the more it, well, not makes sense. It doesn't make sense, but it does hang together. And here is Papa's diary. The Magus von Brandt's authentic and unique account of the true tongue of the true Holy Land of the Highmost, written excitably and in some haste by a gentleman in the grip of a transcendentalist enthusiasm, but nevertheless a useful guide to Aramaic. And a ciphered diary. This details a growing obsession with an individual by the name of Margaret Zell. So this is always a fun thing, right? Is I do like the fact that they refer to the previous playthroughs, and you can imagine, was this someone who was infatuated with her dances? Was this someone who maybe was the suitor? Is this Lord Timothy Monday's, son? I mean, we could even say this is the bastard of Timothy Monday, hence the different name. There's a bunch of different ways that you can angle this, but in any case, this is our entryway. We've lost our inheritance, and we're left with a ciphered diary. Papa's diary. It's a catalog of obsessions, but perhaps it will make some sort of sense of recent events. And the house without walls. The dreams begin. Papa spoke of them, and he said that his father before him had been so troubled. Something in our blood, a biting melancholy that kills the soul. Summoning a stranger. I've contacted the individual named in this troubling document. I have little reason to believe they will be able to enlighten me on the nature of what went before, but perhaps they can help with what is to come. The name of Margaret Zell appears again and again in these pages. They were a locus for impossibility, a fount of the future, one who has cut the eye, and on the last page there is a correspondence address and a name. So here we have our first insight into the secret world, a red secret, and we finally have some reason. So if I wanted, I could try and go to Glover and Glover, but that's not the angle I'm going to go with this particular character. But we do have a study, and we have had an interest in strange books, so let's start by reading the 6 letters on necessity. So, warnings and confessions about the cost of the invisible arts, addressed to a student by the 17th century magus and reputed immortal, Julian Cosley. Cosley's tone is urgent, as if he suspected he may have little time left. I found something noteworthy. Oh, Gildersleeve's Latin grammar, so that's going to be an obvious next step. Just what you need to refresh your knowledge of Latin. Streets are strange and the hour called the Minuscate. I did not read the Red Secret. Some words are spelt correctly only when the proper ink is used. Requires intuition for an upgrade. With time and peace, answers sometimes come unannounced. It's level 2 Grail, and it is lore. Knowledge of the invisible arts. I can use it to attract followers, to perform rites, to open the way to the mantis, to seek my ascension. I dream of a shriveling light, a sun that crisps snow but does not melt it. When I wake, my room is always cold. So here we have a chilly atmosphere. A peculiar chill lingers in my rooms. This is going to be one that is a challenge to get rid of, I think. So let's start by painting. I used to paint. I could paint those sights I half remember from my dreams. I might sell something. I probably won't. I do also have the option of dream. I could, well, sorry, I can't dream of the red secret, actually. Yeah, I need passion for that, so maybe didn't use my resources that well. Visions pass me with purveying grace, a window over a wood, a garden of ice, a shivering sun, a woman of glass. I will return home with reluctance. Okay. We can go to Moorlands again, so we'll explore with that. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I will find something interesting. I was trying to think if there's something else I can find with the explore verb, but I guess it's just books at this point. Just books, quote unquote. My new acquaintance speaks authoritatively of Papa. He knew he was dying. He had hoped to taste unknown pleasures before his end, pleasures denied to healthy society. My new acquaintance suggests that I might finish what he began, and that if I do so, I might save myself from the despair which haunts my family. So here we've got Poppy, an amiable woman of property. She'd like to talk to you. And we've got the temptation sensation. I could achieve experiences of an intensity few could imagine. This card will allow you to win a sensation victory if you upgrade it far enough. Dreaming about it might advance or change it. So we'll put Poppy among the... well, we could put Poppy down here, I guess. And even the sun can be divided, though it require the Forge of Days for its division. So here I gained some erudition for my trouble, and a smith's secret. In 5 continents, smiths have whispered the same words to the iron. Murderers have been known to whisper these words too, and adepts, of course. These words are spoken in ritual to inspire an unmerciful change. So here is the smith's secret. This has a forge aspect. Fire, I once read, is the winter that warms and the spring that consumes. The principle of the forge transforms and destroys. All right. So I still want to do something with the dream slot. I don't think I'm quite ready to talk to Poppy yet, but what we can maybe start talking about is the red secret. Speak of esoteric matters. Talking publicly about the invisible arts will attract attention. Perhaps that's what I want. In the meantime, let's also talk about, or we'll study Gildersleeve's Latin grammar. I recall a certain amount from my school days, but I need to brush up. And then while we're at it, this is a little bit early in terms of the character development, but I don't actually think I want to do sensation. So meditate on the pursuit of sensation. Should I dedicate myself to my purpose or focus my efforts elsewhere? So dedicate myself to the lore of the principle I seek or focus my efforts elsewhere. We started off by buying books, and perhaps we don't want to end up as Papa. Perhaps knowledge is the finer goal. I found something noteworthy. So we have the Skeleton Songs, poems of greedy delight composed by the possibly pseudonymous Arbella Dusk, the rumored heiress turned madam turned poetess. So we have 2 works that we're going to be able to read coming up. And let's go to Streets Strange by Moonlight again. The streets are strange in the hour called Meniscate. Okay, we have dread now. Wolf despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over for now. And I found a customer. She'll probably hang it in her spare bedroom and never look at it again, but her money is good. Sometimes paintings will gain you glimmerings. Study them to unlock more advanced painting options. So we're starting to make a little something of ourselves. There's not much that we can do with the work verb right now, so I'm going to have to sort of leave that be. At least until we have a ritual. And you can also see a contrast between how we played the Dancer and the Bright Young Thing. So the Dancer was able to, you can almost see them being the other half of the relationships we were talking about for the Bright Young Thing. The Dancer, or at least our Dancer, relied quite heavily on the patronage of Nicola and Timothy Monday. In this case, so that gave us a very large number of funds, which we used to sort of build up our ability to do things. Here, what we have is a large amount of money, and again, that kind of comes from the will. But we're in a similar point where we're going to need to use that to, to give us the foundation from which we will play the rest of the playthrough. The drawback here is that I don't necessarily have a way of generating money right now. Now, obviously, if you know how the game works, there are multiple ways that I can earn money on the table right now. But as far as the character is concerned, at least the Dancer has their ability to dance. I am only just getting out of the cocoon of sleeping in till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, visions pass me with pavane grace, a window over the wood, a garden of ice, a shivering sun, a woman of glass. I will return home with reluctance. So the contentment is just what I needed for the dread. So let's go back to Moorlands to buy us a book. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I will find something interesting. And exotic cravings, what hungers drive us. It has occurred to me that I hold the key to wisdom. This card will allow you to win an enlightenment victory if you upgrade it far enough. Dreaming about it might advance or change it. Hunger glows in my brain, hunger for the knowledge the invisible arts might bring. I've refocused my intentions. My predecessors understood the highest secrets, the searching secrets, the secrets that shone through bones like glass and skin like parchment. So shall I, though the knowledge might undo me. The doors of the Palace of Memory are opened. Okay, lots to work with, so let's start by upgrading the glimmer... Oh, hang on. No, this is still the right call. Feed my imagination. The tigers of wrath are wiser than the horses of instruction. If I spend time studying what I've learnt, I could increase my passion and gain a skill. Okay. We've exhausted our passion, so now we can dream, but what do I dream about if I don't have... Oh yes, the dread and the contentment. I remember that I was different before. The watchman, who is the door and the eye, waits in my dreams. If I learn the lantern lore and I dream of this temptation, I can advance my purpose. The need gnaws at me. So we have fuel for a painting. I found something noteworthy. Alright, a collection of essays from Moorlands. I'm not going to complain about that, but maybe doesn't quite get me the lore that I need. As far as exploration, let's explore the fleeting reminiscence and see what comes out. My thoughts will wander, and I will follow. Old emotions will come home to roost. Does it say come home? No, come to roost, not come home. Curses. I was hoping to use that passion for something else. Come with me. A light in the skull. Whenever the principle of lantern sheds its light, I may recall additional scraps of knowledge. This will be helpful for this erudition here. And memory is a maze, and at its heart, a garden. So that's a contentment in case we need to worry about the restlessness, but I do plan to paint that away. So we'll head to Moorlands and pick up another book. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. Trembling in the air. The sun flickers like a shadow. Dreams ripple behind the surface of mirrors. I must be careful not to drift from the waking world. And the Season of Suspicion, so there will be a mystique that I get for bringing someone in, and so the Suppression Bureau is already going to be on the trail. We'll see if we can find some ways to deal with them. Laidlaw and acquaintance. Laidlaw is a tinkerer and mechanic with an uncanny knack. You may be able to recruit this acquaintance as a follower. The sun still moves, the wind still walks. My journals are the labyrinth clue. And feed my imagination. There are more windows in my soul, but sunlight is not the only thing that passes through a window. I've gained passion, but it will be more difficult to gain passion next time. So I'll take my vivid imagination, so I could do 2 passion, but let's take my mystique and use that as well. You never know, this might be a living. And we will use our restlessness as an inspiration. This should have an impact. As far as studying is concerned, let's start by reading the skeleton songs. There's no reason to translate when we don't have to, so. In Arbella's introduction, she explains that the book was to be illustrated, but that the Suppression Bureau would not permit it. She hints that the illustration still exists somewhere. The book is dedicated to Sir Parzival of the Red Cup. And I've got things I can do with the dream slot, so let's start... actually I have less that I can do with dream than I thought. So let's still keep talking about the Red Secret. Talking publicly about the invisible arts will attract attention. Perhaps that's what I want. Dusty facts have come clear in my brain, for now at least. Oh, this erudition's gonna go away. We'll see if we can do something to preserve it. I found something noteworthy. Another collection of essays. Oh, there is. It's gonna be a really tight window, but I only need a few more seconds. Okay. My thoughts will wander, and I will follow. Old emotions come to roost. I could spend I could spend money on better paints, or perhaps I could find more exotic pigments. I don't think I'm quite ready to spend money on the paintings yet. I have enough in my reserve. I have not shirked. Memory is a maze, and its heart a garden. Alright, so there's the restlessness. I'm gonna need to paint that away again. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. No fascination drives your visions, it's over for now. So we can do that again, so let memory guide my steps. My thoughts will wander, and I will follow. Old emotions will come to roost. This is work I can be proud of. With enough publicity, it will sell. And there's the mystique. Oh, very nice. My recent work is considered significant. I may yet earn a living from this, but nothing is certain. So that's 3 mystique that I earned out of that. We got a contentment and no staleness yet, which is nice. So this actually gives me a little bit more flexibility than I thought I would originally have. So here we're going to put 2 mystique in. I'm now going to use my restlessness as my inspiration. This should have an impact. And then what this will also do for me is this will free me up for study to be able to upgrade my erudition. I was hoping that I'd be able to upgrade the glimmering as well, but we don't have another glimmering, so that's fine. 26 delightful fruits, the 7 chastisements, the 9 gardens, the 4 regrets. So there's another red secret. And let's go, okay. Erudition. Exercise the mind. I've picked up odd facts here and there. If I spend time studying what I've learned, I could increase my reason. Now, I do eventually want to spend some more time in Moorlands and Oriflammes, because if I don't have Lantern, then I don't believe I'm going to be able to advance my temptation. Also, I will want Moth or Lantern to be able to move up in the Mansis, but we're doing okay in terms of sort of achieving certain goals here. Now, regrettably, we wound up with Fascination. That's always a danger. Oh, and it's in 28 seconds, that's actually going to bite me. So I may not be able to deal with this in time, but what we'll try and do is find a way of clearing this out through other means. Memory is a maze, and at its heart, a garden. Light leaks through the cracks. My mind is brighter than it ever was. The higher I rise, the more I see. Moth aspect. I knew a man who captured moths in a bell jar. On nights like this, he would release them one by one to die in the candle. Moth is the wild and perilous principle of chaos and yearning. It is an influence, it is a memory, and it is ill health. So if we dream with this, we need either a fleeting reminiscence or a dread, neither of which we currently have. We can afford to spend money on paints in this case. Now, what do I want to do with exploration? Excuse me. Let's pick up another book at Moorlands. I was thinking maybe a dream might give me Herschel's nightmare, so... Moonlit Road. I know this dream. A road crests a hilltop and the air is silver bright. There's always someone who doesn't understand, or who understands too well. This troublemaker may seek evidence on my activities to share with the authorities. The weary detective. This gentleman would much rather be left alone with his pipe and his illustrated London news. But no, apparently some conjurer of abominations has to be hunted down like a mad dog, and apparently no one else can find the time. This is work I can be proud of. With enough publicity, it will sell. So 2 funds, we got a bit of a return on that. My recent work is considered notable. I've exhibited the latest paintings publicly. Surely someone will buy something. So, here I'm going to need to be a little bit more careful. I'm going to want to make sure that I'm using passion in my next painting so that I can clear out the staleness. Now, I was thinking that maybe I could try and do a painting that would... use the fascination as an input, but the problem is that I actually have to have the fascination hanging out for a bit before I'm able to like actually use it as part of the painting. So that's not an option available to me. I think what we'll do is we'll just wait. We'll get the passion back, and we'll do a proper painting when the time comes. Okay, coming up, we've got a Season of Despair, so I want to be careful of the dread I generate. But again, we'll try and balance our moods appropriately. If I don't generate any dread, I am going to generate a fleeting reminiscence, which will clear out the fascination. And then if we wind up in a situation where we do generate dread, then I need to worry a little bit. The Viennese Conundra. Nico van Dreel describes odd events in Vienna: the disappearance of children, epidemics of parasite activity, animal mutilations, nightmares of worms, the activities of a charitable organization, the New Legions, that funds the burial of the poor. She proposes peculiar connections between these activities. So we'll get one more book read, and then I think we may... Oh, maybe we won't. I'm currently exercising the mind, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to see that through. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. So again, I want 2 passion before I go too far. We can learn from each other. So we've got Dr. Redeem. Got my reason back, a red secret, and yet another mystique. Okay, so let's start by getting a commission from Dr. Redeem. The doctor would like help with his research. And my mind, the library. I've gained reason, but it'll be more difficult to gain reason next time. Okay, let's think about what the next few steps are going to be. Study-wise, yeah, we will read the Viennese Conundra. When the individual K attends the meetings, black dogs are sacrificed and quartered. When the individual M is in attendance, black mares are found with their throats slashed. I propose that these sacrifices are not necessary, but that our Legion friends may consider them fitting. Herewith, diagrams of the mutilations. And he would like a substantial commission on Lantern. Well, so would I. Dr. Ibn al-Adim, called the Alapine, has offered you a commission. He would like you to provide him with substantial discussion of the severe mysteries of Lantern. And I don't think I read his description. So, Dr. Ibn al-Adim, called the Alapine, has an interest in overlooked history. He has offered you a commission. So, talk-wise, let's follow up with another red secret. I don't think there's a lot of value in keeping that idle. The value in keeping work idle is just so I can get another passion to clear out the staleness. And I found something noteworthy. Wrapped in the King. We'll read the description for that later because I don't think I'm going to be able to get that done in time. And let's pick up another thing at more Oriflammes while we can. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I find enough books, I will find something interesting. Rain is coming, but the right kind of rain. So that's going to get me a contentment. So if we do need to worry about dread, that's going to help me out. And we have a light in the skull. Whenever the principle of Lantern sheds its light, I may recall additional scraps of knowledge. That will be good for improving my reason, but I suspect I'm not going to be able to make enough of that in time. So we'll leave the dream slot be for a while. We need some more passion. I could try studying passion, but I've got enough books here that I think I want to work on. I want to work on reading my books for a little while. I'm also going to have a restlessness coming up, so if I can paint away my staleness, that would be kind of nice. And we've got Kittling Ripe and the Moldy Warp's Graves and other stories, so plenty of moth to work with. Alright, I think on that note we are ready to finish. So, interesting start for the Bright Young Thing. We have decided to sort of break from our family's legacy, and instead I am pursuing knowledge. Perhaps what I want to do is understand and overcome our curse rather than just simply indulge and try to kind of have it act as a counterweight. We had sort of the seeds of that through the fact that we did sort of decide to go out on our own and seek out moorlands and follow through. But we don't have the pieces we need to be able to follow the temptation of enlightenment. We are setting out on our own, and that means that we also have to do everything on our own. And so we'll see whether or not we can pursue that. But that will happen on another day. As always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a lovely evening.